That, to me, is a very intriguing storyline.
Will the curse be broken if it just makes it to the finals, or does it have to win?
It has to win.
It has to win.
It has to win. So maybe, you know, in fact, maybe I'm kind of rooting a little more for Omega just in that sense because I want to see the Havencraft move on.
Right, right. Yeah, if Hobo's able to take the Havencraft deck, that would end the curse. But tall order, very tall order. It's going to be some big shoes he's going to have to fill.
Yeah.
Haven has not taken a finals yet. It's not taken a single tournament. This will be the first one, and that would be trend-setting, I think. We might be seeing a lot more Haven decks after that. And it's going to be Hobo starting out with his Haven deck against the 7th Shadow deck for this first semifinals game.
Let's see. I mean, there are situations where we saw Havencraft just absolutely demolish Shadowcraft, banishing away a full board, you know, just kind of really making sure that the shadows are being really ineffective and just kind of being a nuisance to the drops that the 7th, or rather that Shadowcraft was kind of employing.
And Haven was able to earn those little advantages, like making sure that the Shadowcraft player only has 3 shadows when you want to be playing Soul Squasher and getting rid of those evolved followers, but it's the banishing that makes such a big difference.
The Heavenly Hound.
And there's already 3 options for banishing in the hand of Hobo. He's got Blackened Scripture and 2 Cudgels as well. Of course, he's going first, so he only has those 2 Evolve Orbs, but we'll see how he's able to use those effectively in this match.
Lurching Corpse comes down. That's an easy target for a banish.
Yep, easy target for a Blackened Scripture. Definitely want to get that off the field as soon as possible, especially on turn 3 when it's the only card in hand. You can handily get rid of that card, preventing any kind of Catacomb from coming out this turn. But the 7th, he's got the Goblin and the Soul Squasher as well. He can fill up his board yet again.
Feeling hungry.
Goblin drops.
They're so fresh.
He's going to commit one of his Soul Squashers. That could set up a possible Orthrus, but...
Hey, why so angry?
Right, but even then, with the Lyrial Archer, he's guaranteeing that this Orthrus play is going to get some value out of it. Instead of playing maybe the Cudgel, I can see why he'd want to save that card for when he has an Evolve Orb.
Yeah. So really he has to make a choice, right? Evolve 2 Cudgels or save one of the Evolves for one of his ALSs. I'm leaning on evolving them evolving the Cudgels just because I think that with Dark Jean, the value of having an ALS is not quite as great. You know, you can kind of get that similar effect by kind of tiding over for Jean.
But I love the choice that the 7th made to evolve that Goblin there on the last turn, kind of preventing that a Lion or a Cudgel would be able to banish it off or destroy it. But so he was forced to banish the Orthrus and then attack straight into the Goblin to kind of clear the board.
Yeah. Another Blackened Scripture.
It's tempting to use it right now on this turn, but
he's going to go for it.
The Sergeant kind of already gains its value when it's played because its fanfare ability is that you gain 1 shadow. So banishing it, you prevent them from gaining 1 shadow and you get rid of a 2/2 follower.
He floated 4. And they didn't get their enhance effect.
Right.
I think that's important, though, because it allowed him to actually bump himself up to 6 shadows, which continues to add on to the count rather than expending them all. Now he has 3 more shadows when those zombies die, and that's going to set up Ector for a better situation. And Ector doesn't even really need it, right? With 3 zombies on the field, that's enough to justify Ector. Right,
but Hobo could completely clear off the board this turn if he wants to spend his last Blackened Scripture on the zombie. This will be his last Blackened Scripture. It's such a juicy card for a 2-cost, being able to banish a follower that has 3 defense.
It's a choice, right? Because he could definitely play his Hound here and get the added bonus effect.
Yep.
And that's what he's going to do. He opts to float 1 and keeps the Scripture.
And now that's playing the Hound on that turn. He's really just giving the enhanced zombie from this Ector a target to attack into.
This head can't be taken.
Here it comes. 2 zombies.
2 zombies and another 4 damage right to face unless he chooses to evolve. It's another evolve point spent on just pure face damage in this matchup.
And now the banish won't work. Themis's is definitely an option.
Yep.
But he needs to be careful of something like Phantom Howl.
Yep.
There's no Cerberus that was played, so he knows there's no extra damage that's going to come
so he'd only be able to get 7 damage with the evolved on one of the ghosts.
And it looks like that's not going to be the option. Death's Breath instead. And this is important because now you can't play Aegis, right?
Right.
The Dark
But you
Jean is
can
going to
Dark
sweep
Jean.
everything.
That's looking really juicy.
Oh my
on
god!
This
This
turn.
might be the highest value Jean I've ever seen. That sets up the Grimner on the next turn too.
Yep.
Oh! God! 4-0.
Oh man, that feels good. There's a Nectar. He's going to be able to clear off the Jean, but oh man. And then even if he does Grimnir next turn, that's not going to be enough to take off the Ector.
He will still maintain the ward, which is, I think, very important.
Right. Yes.
Having the
very
ward
crucial.
there. And really, the question is, especially without evolution orbs, when do you find time to play Aegis? It almost has to be something like Bahamut into Aegis, you know, rather than Aegis and then Bahamut afterwards.
Right. Yeah, it seems like that's almost necessary.
Okay, Ector's down.
And there's only Catacomb remaining, and a Grimnir coming out next turn.
He has one more evolve orb as well. So that Lyriel is set up to ping for 1.
Right, if he chooses to do that next turn, but I think if Hobo plays a Grimnir, I mean, it's not really going to matter. We'll see what this draw is for Hobo, maybe giving him one more option. It's going to be Unica. I think, yeah, definitely Grimnir is a play this turn.
Okay, so the top deck for the 7th here is also really important.
Yep. Could be a Cerberus, and that's going to end the game. He's going to be able to buff up the Ector and close out this game because he saved that Evolve Orb.
Yep.
What a great choice being able to save that Evolve Orb.
Yeah.
He was put in a position where he didn't have to use it to clear the board.
And that's kind of what Vindy was talking about with the 7th playing very a very controlled, very patient game, right? He didn't get antsy, just saved his resources, holds on to the Ector here, and he's going to be able to buff up 2 damage and do 2 to face with the 7 swing from Ector. It's going to close it out.
Yep.
Definitely a situation where I feel like it always feels like Havencraft just needed that one extra card, right? Just that one more card. Aegis is uncomfortable to play if you don't have Evolve Orbs because you can't gain any kind of tempo back.
Right.
And if you don't have Bahamut, you can't really reset your situation. He already had the Grimnir. He already had the Dark Jean. It's just like, it's almost you're asking for too much.
as well,
right?
like all the options you want to use on your Aegis turn, where you play Aegis and then clear the board afterward. He used all those to just try to set up, and he wasn't able to really get in the position where Aegis was going to be able to help him.
I really feel like you need to, at that point, look to cards like, I don't know, maybe something like Curate, right? Maybe something that will heal up as well as put presence on the board so that you could still use that to swing and then use one of your removals.
He is running Curate in his deck, and what a high-value card that is. A 7-drop with 5 attack and 5 defense. That's beefy. And you heal immediately for 5 defense on any ally that you want to.
Yeah. So J-Hobo down 1 against the 7th, but not out. We've seen a lot of 2-1s today.
That's right.
J-Hobo could certainly take it back, and I would expect him to run Haven again. Is exactly what you have to do in this format. You run your deck that you think has a stronger counter against your matchups. I don't know if he identifies it as better against Dragon or better against Shadow, but definitely want to run your more interesting, quote-unquote, deck first.
And we'll see what the 7th's Dragon deck can do against Hobo's Havencraft. He's got the Zell for tempo on turn 2. He's also got Breath of the Salamander, so he's got some clear. But
Interesting set of cards for his hand. Kind of
in this matchup, I think clear is not as important. You're not trying to prevent your shadow opponent from getting a Catacomb on turn 3. But I think ramp is absolutely crucial in this matchup. Being able to get those beefy followers and put pressure on the board, force the Haven player to use Themis, to use its banishing capabilities, and put it in a position where it's not able to play Aegis on turn 9. So we'll see if the Dragon player is able to ramp up and make those plays happen.
I am the Mad Cyclone.
Grimnir comes down. And he's just swinging face. Still not a comfortable, so he's not going to get the ramp before the Sybil here. Unless he draws it next turn. But even then, that really slows down Dragoncraft.
Yeah.
Basically going to enter the late game on kind of even footing with J-Hobo. The only thing that's kind of rough here is J-Hobo hasn't drawn into many late game options, whereas the 7th has 2 Israfils and a Zeus already.
Right.
I have no regrets.
Opts to save the Tribunal, which I like that. I think that's very smart.
Saving the Tribunal until maybe they put all their eggs into an Easterfill that the 7th has in his hand in those later turns, and Tribunal could come down and just wipe it off the board. Definitely very strong in this Dragon matchup, Tribunal.
Be gone.
First Evolve Orb being spent on the Grimnir to take off the Unica.
It's going to open it up for Blackened Scripture,
Right.
which is the choice, and then maybe Grimnir to come down.
It's interesting because both players are more than happy spending their orbs just to
Close
clear
it.
the board. Not really going for face damage, being very careful. Hobo could have played Grimnir that turn, gotten some tempo with an extra follower on his side of the field, but he elected not to. They're really saving their cards for the later stages of the game. And man, look at this hand from the 7th. Look at all those legendary cards.
Oh my
Every
God.
single card is legendary.
He's got 3 Sibyls ready to go.
Oh my gosh.
So much healing. 3 Sibyls, 2 Israfils.
He could, on turn 10, he could play 2 Sibyls. And just heal for 6 at the end of that turn. That is just, oh.
And the Lightning Blast as well is actually really strong. Evolve is going to give a huge stat line to that. Takes out Jean. No problem.
Tribunal is an option. Also, the Evolved Cudgel would get rid of the Sibyl as well. You could
I
Tribunal
wonder.
and then Sacred Plea, or Cudgel and then Sacred Plea. But either way, I really like to see Sacred Plea get down on this turn as well. So by turn 10, he'll be able to have some more cards in his hand as well.
And I think that's important. Card draw, I think, is really important right now because you're drawing one at a time and you don't have a clear late game big hitter in your hand.
Right.
And obviously, we can see Ouroboros joining the mix as well now.
Yeah, what a... With 4 defense, it's such a thorn in the side for Haven because all the banishing capabilities that Haven has aside from Acolyte's Light, which we do know is in Hobo's deck, you have to have 3 defense on an enemy follower to banish it. With Cudgel, with Judge of Retribution, and Blackened Scripture, that's such a... That's why Ouroboros is still viable in this Haven matchup.
Has to throw away both of his Grimners before he gets to the enhanced stage.
Oh, and now the 7th is able to Lightning Blast, get rid of the Sacred Plea and the Tribunal, so those don't get their effective pops and go for face for 8 damage with the Ouroboros. What a massive play.
Oh, God. It's a tough situation.
Oh, man, he's going to have to evolve the Judge just to trade into the Ouroboros. But either way, the 7th has an evolved Zeus next turn, which is going to be able to end this game, and he's going to be able to take this game 2-0.
Yeah. Such a tough draw situation for Hobo. Didn't pull any of his late game options. And you mentioned it exactly. You hit the nail on the head, right? 4 defense is so annoying because you just need that little bit of ping. And
Yeah, he had the
no
options. He had
follow-up.
the Cudgel and the Judge of Retribution, but Ouroboros not being able to be banished with 4 defense.
The second time we will see an Evolved Zeus close out a game here, and the 7th easily 2-0 moves on.
Handily moves on to the finals with an ExG member in the finals. We are getting exactly what we hoped for.
Yeah, Havencraft deck falls, but
Sad to say, yep.
that means the curse will continue because I don't think anybody in the bottom 2. I think the Havencraft deck got knocked out there as well.
It did, yep.
So
So the dream is still alive. We're still hoping maybe in a couple